major problems in St. Augustine's real estate market, and unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard some of the mainstream media headlines. Interest rates are on the rise, there's no supply of homes available, there's issues with new construction, and some of the industry leaders have flopped on their 2022 housing predictions. Today, I'm going to cover how all of that's going to affect my local St. Augustine market, and I'm also going to cover why they flopped on their market predictions for 2022. My name is Thomas and I work with Keller Williams here in St. Augustine, and if you're looking for more information like that, go ahead and tap that subscribe button below, like the video, and comment if you have any additional questions that I might be able to answer. If you need any further assistance, go ahead and reach out to me directly, whether that's a call, a text, or an email. It goes directly to my phone and I'm the guy answering it. So whether that's a call, text, or email, I'm here to help. The first thing I wanted to cover amongst all of the news that we're hearing about interest rates on the rise, loan applications being down, sales declining, and a housing bubble on the loom. Some of the market's major industry leaders, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com, have made some predictions that have made a total flop since January. Now, if you're looking at the stats, back in January, Zillow had a price growth forecast of 16.5%. CoreLogic 1.9%, Realtor.com 2.9%, Redfin 3%, and MBA negative 2.5%. They've now adjusted in their April price growth forecast. For Zillow, they've come down. They're now at 14.9%. CoreLogic has doubled their evaluation up to 5%. Realtor.com hasn't come out with theirs yet, but I imagine it's going to be double as well. And Redfin is 7%. MBA is almost 5% as well, right along with CoreLogic. So this is a big flop within the past 4 months. And really, that's because they're seeing the trends of what's going on for this year, despite of interest rates, despite of our low housing market, and also despite of the issues with new construction. Now, the first news story that I'm sure you've heard of is that interest rates are on the rise. If you're looking at April of 2021, interest rates are right around 3.5%. You compare that with today, and I saw an interest rate for 5.72%. So that is a huge change, and it's a big change in affordability and what you can afford just based off of that 2% change in interest rate. Most of that change has happened within the past 90 days. If you're looking at the past 90 days, you can see that interest rates were 3.72%. Comparing that with today's interest rate of 5.72%. That's a 2% change literally within the past 3 months. That significantly affects affordability for a ton of buyers. One of my buddies, who I've known since I was 7, he was actually my first friend I made here in Florida, he's looking to buy a home in the area. He'd love to be in St. Johns County, but at the price point that he's looking at, he's actually over in Putnam County. Luckily, we just got him under contract on something out there, but he was looking at the 200,000 range. He's a first-time home buyer. He's first time getting into this market. And with the change of interest rate, his pre-approval got bumped down to 165. So that is a big change in affordability for him as a buyer, and what's going on in today's market with the prices appreciating, you need all the affordability that you can get. I'm sure you've seen the headlines that would lead you to believe that our market is actually slowing down. Mortgage applications are down, interest rates are up, sales are declining, but if you actually dive deeper into most of those articles, they're headlines and they're clickbaity. They actually, if you read them, most of them are comparing this year to last year, which, you know, interest rates were historical lows last year. You had people moving from all over. So when you're comparing one of the craziest real estate markets ever versus this year, yeah, it's going to decline a little bit. You know, also on top of that, interest rates went up. Interest rates were 3.5% last year. They're now around 5.5% today. You would expect that there would be less people looking to get into the game with that rise in interest rate. I mean, it's just kind of common sense. So it definitely puts a damper on a lot of people and their ambitions to buy a house. And that was kind of the purpose. It all goes back to that universal law of supply and demand, and unfortunately in today's world we do not have the housing inventory available, and the demand for northeastern Florida remains at an all-time high. We got 25% of people relocating here for lifestyle reasons, and 40% of the people moving here are going to be moving here for retirement. So we have a large influx of people. We have the baby boomer generation moving in, and we also have the millennials that are moving in here for jobs and also just starting to start their own lives, just like my buddy. Now that leads us to our next section, which is going to be houses available on the market. So just for frame of reference, what I did is I dug back into the MLS. I went to April of 2019, so you could see how many homes were active on the market there versus today. Now, keep in mind, back in April of 2019, we were actually still in a seller's market. There were 9,000 homes available on the market, but it was a seller's market. When you're comparing that to today, there's only 2,300 homes available. Same market, same coverage, but only 2,300 homes available in today's market. So that's a stark difference, and that should give you an idea that even though we were in a seller's market then, we're in an even more competitive seller's market today. Aside from mass relocation because of lifestyle changes and retirement, Northeastern Florida was continuing to boom prior to COVID. That's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that this area was growing consistently prior to COVID. So we were already seeing a boom in prices and things changing in the area, and COVID was more or less an accelerant to that happening, and we see that in prices over the past couple years. Though we have to ask ourselves, is the low interest rates, is the people moving here because of retirement and lifestyle, is that the reason that we have nothing available for sale? Well, it's actually a much bigger problem than that. Freddie Mac reported that we're about 3.8 million units short for housing inventory across the entire United States. This all stems back from 1980s when interest rates were at double digits and they were at an all-time high. No one was buying houses, so no one was building houses. And then confidence started to grow a little bit up until that early 2000s, where it really hit a peak and where they were building homes. And then of course we know the housing recession happened, and then we really have not started building homes at all up until that 2015 mark here in the area at least. And then COVID happened again, so even more issues with the new construction side. Although new construction is booming, and make no doubt about it, they are building a ton of homes in the area, and this area is growing by leaps and bounds year over year, building new schools, building new highways, building new houses, all over the place. Pretty much everywhere you go, you're gonna see some type of construction. So if you are considering going new construction, you need to know some of the major issues that are going on with these builders. Now, most of the builders that you're looking into, they're not custom home builders. They are inventory builders. So they're building the same home over and over and over again. If you're looking for more of a custom touch, then you need to have a specific conversation with a custom home builder. But if you're looking at one of these larger communities with some of these national builders, they're building homes, they're getting subs, they're getting a whole bunch of different contractors out to build your house. And right now it's pretty much shooting from the hip, because laborers in today's market have way more leverage than they've ever had. If you don't want to pay them $29 an hour today, they'll go work for the other builder that will. So they'll just drop what they're doing, walk off site, and go get the money somewhere else. It's very easy for them to do that because contractors are so desperately needed in today's real estate market with all the new construction going on. On top of that, some of the other issues that they're having is they can't give you a closing date. I have several buyers where that's the biggest problem. You know, they're saying, oh, we're going to be several months out, and then a month goes along, and then all of a sudden we're closing in a month. The timeline for these builders is completely out of whack. They're adjusting as much as they can, but if a door takes 8 weeks to get delivered, it takes 8 weeks to get delivered, and then everything else gets held up, because if you don't have a sealed envelope for the house, you can't start working on the finished materials such as the drywall, the paint, the flooring, all that good stuff that makes the house look pretty. You can't start until you have a sealed, controlled environment. So one door or one window not being delivered will throw all of that off. I have one instance with one buyer where they've actually installed the wrong cabinets into the unit, which they're supposed to close sometime next month or this month, but that may change now because they have to get the other set of cabinets installed, and they also have to do the finish work that's around the cabinets that they had to hold up for because they had to reinstall the new set of cabinets. So that causes a delay for people, and it's a big thing because they're moving from across the country. So if you're looking to do new construction, these are all issues that are going to come up regardless. This is not unique amongst one builder. This is happening across every single builder. Do not get it twisted. Every builder has an issue with the supply chain and the labor force right now. There's no way around it. I mean, do you say that one builder is doing better than the other? Maybe because they have more pull for materials, but for the most part, across the board, every builder that I've worked with has had some delay, some type of issue, whereas before they say, oh yeah, in 4 months we'll get your house done, no problem, it'll be done on this date. Now they cannot do that. It's just not happening. Actually, some builders are limited to how many homes they're allowed to sell because of how fast things are moving. The higher up said, hey guys, we need to slow things down. You're only allowed to sell 2 homes a month. So for those 2 homes in those communities, if you have buyers interested in them, they're now competing against the other people that's interested in that specific lot in that specific community. Most new construction is going to be several months out unless they have some type of issue amongst a contract with an individual buyer, but most of them are going to be 4 to 6 months out. If you're lucky, 8 to 12 months out is probably going to be more standard for today's market. Mistakes and delays can happen throughout the contract, but the one thing you can say with new construction is if you have the patience, it definitely has worked out for pretty much every buyer that I've had go through new construction. You need to have the patience. These problems happen. There are issues that are going to happen, no doubt about it. But most of the people that are going new construction, because of the delays, because of everything, how our market's appreciated, they're walking into their home with equity, which if you don't plan on selling the home, doesn't really make a difference for you, but it's good to know that once you walk into the house, you got about 50 grand in equity or 100,000 in equity. I have one buyer who I think might have $200,000 in equity from their new construction home. So super excited for them. Not that they're gonna sell the house or anything, but it does ease the pain a little bit of this process when you know you're getting a little bit of equity out of your house instantly when you walk in the door. And this leads us to our last major topic here in St. Augustine, which is going to be the affordable housing crisis. Now, St. Johns County just approved 500 housing units, which honestly, that is not going to help whatsoever. They're aiming for them to be under $240,000, but 500 units amongst the units that we actually need, that is nothing. They approve subdivisions for 500 units every single week. I guarantee that this is not going to help at all. I mean, $240,000 is still a considerable amount of money for a lot of people that live here. Now, in my honest opinion, I think that St. Johns County has dragged their feet a little bit. We knew back several years ago that affordable housing was needed in this area and how rapidly things are changing, and now they just approve a 500 unit affordable housing complex. I mean, they're approving new subdivisions every day for thousands of homes, and 500 units amongst the sea of homes that are being built is really not enough to make a difference. So I really kind of have a gripe with that because they need to be doing a lot more than just 500 homes. Of course, there is some pushback from the local community. I did cover in one of my live streams where on St. Augustine Beach, they wanted to put in an affordable housing sector, and a lot of the people kind of had that not in my backyard type of situation where they didn't want it because traffic was already as bad as it could be, and it would get worse with more affordable housing there. And plus also, what about the wildlife in the area? I really don't like that argument at all. You know, people need to have a place to live. There's people that need to work in that area, and housing is for everyone. You know, you really need to have a place where people can start. And starting at $500,000 in St. Augustine Beach, that's not attainable for most first-time home buyers or people that live and work in the service industry that maintain the beach and make people want to visit it in the first place. So I'm not okay with that argument with the not in my backyard. Let's put it in your backyard and let's make a couple more of them. Guys, and that is it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you gained a little bit of knowledge and a little bit of insight into what's going on in the major problems here in St. Augustine, Florida. If you did, please do me that solid and tap that subscribe button below. Like the video and comment if you have any additional questions, or if you want to see any additional content from me, leave it below and I'll make a video for you. If you need any further assistance, go ahead and reach out to me directly, whether that's a call, a text, or an email. It goes directly to my phone. I'm the guy answering it, so that's a call, text, or email. I'm here for you.